This week on the Unqualified Gamers podcast, Darren joins the boys to talk about Call of Duty, Borderlands 4, and Ubisoft's new battle royale, Project Fedra.
Episode 117.
Dang, in my mind, I always do the numbers, like 117. I think I usually follow it up after he introduces it. But yeah, it's crazy because CC's not here today to yell at people,
Yeah, so
That's why I'm here.
That's why Darren is here.
Mr. DarrenLeeHorn is over there. He does use his middle name a lot. Apparently, there's another. Go ahead, Darren. I need you to tell your
there's a great story behind that. So, my name is, I would say, somewhat unique. Not too many people these days, this day and age, is named Darren. But in 8th grade, there was a Darren Bart and a Jared Horn. So the teacher could not call one of the other names without getting 2 responses. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just add my middle name, and it's
that makes sense. And I take it it's Lee, not Li.
Yeah.
Like
the correct way of spelling it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a little offensive, but
can't you
whatever.
tell he's Asian? I mean, look at him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was going to ask that. Was he Korean or Japanese, or which side of the Asian culture
family?
is he in? Yeah.
So
my family.
Oh no, it's just white as hell.
Yeah.
No, I'm muckluck. I'm everything European.
Oh, well, same. Except I have some Native American. That's about it.
Yeah. I don't.
No, so I found the right way to ask somebody what type of Asian, because that sounds even kind of weird, is what flavor.
Oh,
Yeah. And no one really gets offended by that because they just find it kind of funny. Is it Thai? Is it Japanese or whatever? But yeah, you ask them what flavor of Asian are you, and everyone seems to be good with it.
That's a pretty good question. There was a comedian who said that you can tell by the way they say things.
Yeah, they're D's, right? Because
D's, the speed and volume that they speak at, will say what they are. I'm like, I can't memorize all that.
I am part Asian, but I'm not Asian enough to say those jokes without someone getting pissed off.
You were born in Cali, weren't you?
I was born in California, but
so you're American.
I mean, yes. Well, my grandfather was actually born in Jakarta, Indonesia. So
that's not you, Zeus.
I am a
You're
quarter
American.
breed. All right, I am. Although my mom's side dates back to the Civil War and the Mayflower, so my mom's side is as white can be.
Yeah, just a mutant.
Yeah, pretty much. And then my dad's side, he was the first of the. There were 3. His 3 older sisters were born out of the country, and him and his 3 brothers were born in Massachusetts. So, it's a lot of fun.
Massachusetts. Sorry, Ma. Threw her under the bus there.
But yeah, Mr. Darren, how are you today?
I'm good. Just super busy lately.
That's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I just found out I think it was 30 minutes ago that I had an appointment at 2 p.m. for dental. So I'm like, I need to push this back.
I think you missed that.
Are you in Cali or the
yeah,
West Coast?
I'm in SoCal.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
so
no,
Darren,
that's correct.
Darren, and those in the comments, feel free to roast him. Darren is actually my high school bully.
I knew you were going to bring this shit.
Darren.
100%.
It's always a fucking Darren, isn't it?
It is, right?
Okay, first of all, that's profiling the Darrens, all right? Second of all,
I mean, if you have a pattern, I'm just saying.
We won't call it a trend.
Right.
Stereotypes are there for a reason. The usual suspect, is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't think I was explicitly your bully so much more than I was just, and there's a lot of people that can confirm this, but it was just more the fact that I was just a dick. And
oh, so that's me now.
It's just okay. It's just Zeus got it the most.
Oh,
and so years later, long story short, I went through an apology tour, and Zeus wasn't around for that. But I think it was around 2020 when I started streaming, and that's how Zeus reconnected with me. We were friends on Facebook, but we would never talk. And,
understandably, yeah.
And then he finally reconnected with me, and then we chatted offline, and it was in that conversation I'm like, I never got around to saying I'm sorry, man.
Aw, knowing the person that Zeus is now, I would say he probably deserved it as a child.
Damn.
Well, okay, so let me one up that theory.
Cece's not here. Somebody's got to take the blunt of my insults. Okay,
I'm gonna one up that theory there of yours and say that I might be responsible for the Zeus you deal with now.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
so,
no, I was not like
Right.
this before.
So we had a good
okay.
run. See you guys later.
Yeah. So now we know it's Darren. DarrenLeeHorn is the reason Zeus is the way he is. Got it.
They call him the scapegoat.
They call you a lot of things. It's not scapegoat.
Wow. Let's open this Pandora's box.
Okay. I mean, if since you insist, they call him Mr. Clean.
Ooh.
Yep.
They
Oh, it's his bald. Okay, that's fine.
yes.
Also, a good
Yeah,
reason to
Mr.
wear
Clean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Johnny Sins. I've gotten it.
Have you ever done the Stone Cold with 2 beers?
I have.
Okay,
And I actually,
okay.
so I dress like of all the bald people Halloween costumes I've done Mr. Clean, I've done Stone Cold Steve Austin, I've done Dr. Evil, I did Johnny Sins last year.
Okay. Okay. This is starting to add up.
Yeah, it's just like I'm running out of ideas at the end of the day for like I think
You
I
haven't
got
done
like
Avatar yet? It's a little. I mean, the last
No.
Airbender. It's kind of like that's a must go.
no because I guess you would call that like what Asian face as opposed to blackface if I were to do that.
I mean,
kind
Is
of not really.
it's not really. No.
Yeah.
He's just a little monkey, like a little monk-looking kid. Like, I mean,
I mean I don't go out of my way to offend people, but it just kind of happens. So
I mean,
That's-
somebody's going to get offended by something you say. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or
In this
do
day-
or whatever.
God,
Somebody's
in
going
this
to get
day and
offended by it.
yeah,
There's
and
always
leave it-
one.
we can always leave it to the keyboard tough guys. So,
Yes.
speaking of people getting offended,
Who did what?
Ubisoft and their new battle royale, are they actually going through with this whole thing with
I mean,
their dev team that we've been kind of ripping on for the past 3 weeks?
that's the rumor. They say they've been working on it for a couple of years. The code name for this battle royale that they're coming out with, which is supposed to be based off of Apex, like even some of the characters, like Lifeline and whoever the other two were, the stealth girl and stuff. I don't know Apex. I played it like when it first came out, and then obviously was like, no, thank you. It's codenamed Scout. And I mean, it's been developed for a couple of years, but the source that was speaking to Insider Gaming was saying that Ubisoft is going to try and capitalize on Apex's player loss, which who knows how that's going to work out. I mean, did people leave Apex just because, you know, of the hacks and cheating and obviously them not listening to the community?
Well, there
Big,
was
big possibility, but will they
there
go to
was-
another game just like it?
There was that one big thing where they wanted to do the double battle pass, and they lost a bunch of people that I'm guessing never came back to it. So there's that. But again, Ubisoft has been one of those companies that I believe they were one of the ones I believe hired people that are anti-guns to do some of their.
I thought that was Halo.
Okay, no, you're right. That was Halo that did that
Yeah.
one.
343. Yeah. I mean,
Oh no. Yes.
Apex's big downfall was mostly because of the hacks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And people like, obviously them trying to push a lot of stuff instead of actually fixing the game, they were trying to push more monetization.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, can you fix the game first? And then maybe we'll talk about money, but you guys are pushing more money instead of fixing the game you're trying to get money for.
see, at heart, it
You're an Apex player, aren't you, Darren? I can tell.
no.
Go ahead.
I think I might have played Apex once,
Oh.
maybe twice, but you know, while I am a capitalist at heart, there's a fine line within, I would argue within the gaming community that there's a point in which you need to facilitate an environment for people to enjoy versus, at the end of the day, you got to make a buck. So
There's a difference between, and I completely understand that. I say if you don't like what a company is doing, which is exactly what the Apex community has kind of done. If you don't like what they're doing, you move your money away from that area and go somewhere else. I mean, that can be said for any good or service. And it's really just like, with prices, with supply and demand type of thing. Same thing happens within games. If you are giving a community something, but you're requiring X amount of dollars for it, right? If you don't give them enough and you overreach, the community is going to disappear.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that kind of happened with the downfall of the BO6 and how they were going with trying to continuously monetize, but the game was on a downward spiral with all the cheaters and everything.
yeah.
I'm going to say that I was one of those people that just completely stepped back and did not play.
Well, I'll even
COD
argue that you had a different reason, Zeus, because we were in the same boat a while back. But here's one of the solutions that I think I chimed in on one of your reels with this response, specifically for Call of Duty. And, you know, Ubisoft could follow the same format. It's not like exclusively to like one game or the other, but to fix BO6 and COD, first thing you got to do is you got to get rid of that stupid menu that houses all the games. Move Warzone out into its own installation. All right. By doing that, you're going to free up a lot of damn space. All right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And leave it to the consumer that owns whichever console or PC to decide for themselves what game they want to have. And I love the cloud option. You've already bought the game, you've uninstalled it. Cool. Your save data is still there. All right. Don't need to worry about it. You just install which game you want to play at the time. That's fine. Number two, they need to charge for it. Charge for Warzone. And people are going to irk at that. But when you think about it, if I'm a hacker, do I really want to spend $60 after $60 after $60 getting banned left and right to hack the same game?
Well, I can answer that for you.
Okay. Well, bookmark that.
Bookmark
Bookmark. So charge for the game, and at least you can use that revenue for the game to facilitate an employment group of people to update the game weekly, similar to Fortnite, and do those updates that cater to the community rather than what they think is funny. Like Seth Rogen, give me a break.
Yeah,
I loved it in Warzone 1. When they would use actual military people as avatars. I loved that. It was awesome. You're going to bring in Seth Rogen.
See, I think
Bob.
I think the biggest
Turtles.
The biggest thing I know that we're turning into Fortnite over here, but I think the biggest reason that they have it as free is what it does is it just pulls in more people, right? So if I have a friend who's on console, I'm on PC, and I'm like, hey man, play this game with me, and they're like, I don't know if I'm going to like it, and you're like, but it's free, just try it. The more people you can throw into a free game, the more chances you have at someone buying a skin or buying a weapon or something.
I understand that model. If you were even a like child company of someone bigger like Naughty Dog or even Blizzard for that matter, sure, I can understand trying to do that to set the tone for like an upcoming game or whatever. But COD, they have an existing reputation. It's
a repeat game.
Yeah, there is a huge community that would just be like, take my money. It's Call of Duty. Take my money. I don't care. So charge for it. Use that revenue to build a team to maintain the game weekly. And then lastly, since it's its own installation, bring back all the maps. The elite complaint from Warzone 1 is we want a new map. We got a new map, which was Caldera, and everyone a week later was like, I miss Verdansk.
Well, that's very similar to PUBG. Like Erangel, they had a week time where they brought back like old Erangel, and it was amazing. If they could have a playlist, I think the reason they don't have this playlist of just Erangel is because nobody else would play the other maps. Maybe a few people, and then it'd be hard to get them in. So they just keep it all mixed up, obviously, and you just fill a lobby. But I think it'd be the same thing in Call of Duty. Like if they brought back Verdansk and like just had a Verdansk map, nobody would play the other one. So they'll probably mix it in. But
I mean,
I think it should be in the mix.
Apex came up with an answer to that, and they just have a 20-minute cycle. You don't want that map, you wait 20 minutes, but if you want to keep playing, you just jump in. And
love that. Yeah.
Every 20 minutes, it's a different thing. Going back to your bookmark.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Yeah. So Tarkov has been, rampant with cheaters for so long, and these cheaters have $120 accounts. There are no skins or anything else. There are some microtransactions now, still not very many. You buy the game. But what's happening is that hackers are literally just getting access to other people's hacked accounts, buying them for like $15 and then going in and doing whatever they want at that point.
Yeah, so like the monetization portion of Warzone is like one theory I provided. The other one, which draws a lot more ire than charging for it, is allowing Call of Duty to be their own spyware for their own installation system. Basically, they'd be able to scan your system. If you've made a modification, gone. But
so
that has privacy issues.
There are games out there. So Valorant, their anti-cheat is so good that if you play any other games from that developer, if you have Valorant installed on your computer, it will still flag you as a cheater, even if that's not running on their systems. Like it is root level. It is incredibly invasive, but Valorant is not a hacking haven anymore like it was in the first year that it was out.
Right.
As far as COD goes, look, I didn't buy it. There's a lot of people that will not buy COD, and they don't make all their money off sales anymore anyway. They make it off their microtransactions.
Well, there's another problem that goes into it, and it's another item on the list. It doesn't necessarily just say Call of Duty, because it's not just for Call of Duty, but it goes into the console cheating aspect, which a lot of people do. So obviously people hate, Zim and the Cronus and stuff like that, right? So there was a hacker who kind of showed off. This guy was streaming it. I don't know if the hacker knew he was being streamed or not. Probably not, obviously, but he went into grave detail. So what happens is, what he's actually doing is he hands the hacks on a PC, and then he pretty much pulls in through an app or through the Xbox to play on console. So it seems like he's just playing on console, and it doesn't register through the console the input cheats, right? It just reads as regular aim and stuff like that through the console. And so what's happening is the system is reading the Xbox for some sort of cheat or hack or anything like that, like a Zim or a Cronus, but it can't pick up these other hacks that they've downloaded on the computer to play through the Xbox or PlayStation, because he says it can happen on both. Now, I will say the downside for him was it cost him $600, he said.
Is it really that worth it?
I don't he said, I got tired of people using, the Cronus and stuff, which I understand. I think it's stupid too. I think people shouldn't use that. Obviously, you're taking away recoil. You're proving you're not that. I mean, you already have aim assist. What do you need to have auto lock, no recoil on for? But there was some $600. There's a couple downfalls. If you ping on a site or ping something, usually it'll pull towards the ping. You did have to center the person. There's a pink dot that you center and it can shoot, so it won't lock onto sprays, but a person will have something you can lock on.
Probably a way of sort of compensating and to keep from giving away the fact that you're an aimbot or whatever.
So it's called the soft lock, and they've been using it for a long time. We've talked about this type of cheater before, where the smart ones, I'm going to keep using air quotes for all of this stuff, but the smart ones don't actually get the kill themselves. They let somebody else finish them off. And so there have been hackers in Rivals and in Overwatch where they will, part of their hack will actually pull their crosshair off of a target once they hit 5% health or 10% health, basically a one shot, and allow someone else to finish them. So if you're watching a kill cam, you only see the non-hacker hit them, but they have no health left. And
they still get the benefit of the kill.
Well, yes, but then they're thinking that this one person did all the damage, and so they're reporting these non-hackers. They've been ruining games for years. I mean, it was different when we were using Game Genie, and it was just, our own data that we were corrupting.
I mean, there's a difference between Grand Theft Auto hacks when you're playing a solo game, or even co-op on the console itself. That was way back then when you had what was that? The Shark. Whatever
Game Shark.
Yes. Yeah, you had Game Shark to download the cheats for the game or whatever, and you just play a game by yourself. Different.
Back in my day, it was IDDQD.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Gonna finish up the whole COD thing. Darren, have you heard about the COD leaks? About the campaign for set in 2035? Anything at all?
No,
apparently.
I barely keep up with the reels everybody sends me.
I know you don't. He basically he works from home, and other than that, he comes out from under his rock to kiss his girlfriend on the cheek, and then crawls back in under his rock. That's about his day.
Thanks, man.
But apparently there's gonna be a four-player co-op.
It's the rumors. That's the rumors. I don't. Again, who knows how accurate these leaks are, and are they really leaks, or are they just COD getting everybody hyped for?
I love
what's coming next. I don't know.
I love that you put leaked in quotes now.
That's all. But there's been so many leaks, insane. Marvel Rivals, Call of Duty. Really, any game that's coming out has been the Switch 2 had a leak. The week it was coming out.
Yeah. So Darren, we don't think there are actual leaks anymore. It is just publicity going out there calling it a leak so that it gets kind of pushed out through socials.
I just see the meme of Hans Landa from Inglourious Basterds. I love rumors.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Zombies with the
yeah.
original crew,
Mhm.
and then I was never a big Zombies fan. I played what was it called? Invasion or Infestation in Ghost?
Yeah, the one where you had to go like put the thing down on like the big nest and then screw through it. Yeah, that was real fun actually, especially once you leveled stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a knife you could throw on the big guys, and just they would have started attacking everybody else, and you're like, "That's what I needed."
It was a lot of fun. But those maps for Infest were really small, actually.
Mhm.
Zombies maps have already been kind of big.
They have been.
I
They're supposed to come out with the largest one yet. I don't.
It's going to be
much bigger
larger
are you
than
going?
the open world like Cold War one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you ever try that Zombies, Darren? The Cold War Zombies?
No, you got it again. Black Ops 6 is the very first Black Ops game I have ever played / bought.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I was always a
Why?
Modern Warfare guy. Like the original Modern Warfares,
Oh yeah.
great storyline. Loved it. The
Yeah.
2019 and
That's
the
where I got into.
Yeah,
PvP.
the new series of Modern Warfare. Love the story. The multiplayer, the Modern Warfare 1 2019, the multiplayer was so much fun. The Modern Warfare 2 was like, it was okay. It was enough, but Warzone had pretty much already dominated at that point. And I can't remember who I was talking to because multiplayer is multiplayer.
Yep.
It's so like spawn die, and
Right.
that formula is only fun for so long, especially when you start really dominating, like when you really understand the maps and the movement and whatever. I used to run with the group on the old Modern Warfare. I think it was Modern Warfare 2. We never lost a game, and it just got boring. So we had to invent like new ways of doing things.
We never lost a game. Whatever, man.
I mean, it got to that point with the new
Arcade
Modern
E's were a 16. Whatever, guys. It's not a big deal. I'm just saying.
I'm not bragging. But with Warzone, with Warzone 1, it wasn't a brand new element to the game community as far as battle royales are concerned, but it was new to Call of Duty, with the exception of Blackout. I have heard of Blackout, never played it, but
That was rough. That was a little.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a good like first battle royale, but there was obviously something like when people died, they dropped similar to PUBG when they drop a box.
Mhm.
This one was like a little duffel bag, but you couldn't open it and see the entire inventory. You had to scroll one item at a time on the inventory and be like,
Yeah.
I guess
But
I want that.
when they dropped Warzone, I was in love with it because I love the concept of having 2 lives. That's
Yeah.
it. So,
Understandably.
Honestly, I really liked Blackout because they would do different things. So one of the things, and I'm pretty sure I brought it up before, is they used to have snipers and melee only. So that was the only weapon that was on the map at all. There was no loadouts or anything like that. It was just snipers and melee. So
Yeah, I think it was always no loadouts, right? Like it was
Correct.
only weapons on the map.
As far as I remember it being, granted, I haven't played it in years at this point.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. It was much more the PUBG thing, but it was a Call of Duty PUBG.
Right.
And like I said,
think that
I
makes so
enjoyed
much
it.
more sense.
I really do still think that they should have just split Modern Warfare and Black Ops into Blackout and Warzone and just kept them separate. Darren, going back to your whole thing about them, not taking up so much space by being able to download what you want. They've already stated that the reason they make the file sizes so big is so that you think twice before you delete games. Like they've said that. They've said that they keep it large purely so that you don't uninstall and you don't have room to install
Thank
other
goodness
games.
I don't even think of that. I just go, don't want this game anymore.
Well, I mean, I've got, 8 terabytes of, storage on PC. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But no,
Right.
COD has been openly said that when they were asked about it.
The Apple of the gaming community.
Do you want to get into Apple, Darren?
Hey, I will always be an Android guy at heart, and I will flip back to Android.
So all we did was just replace one Apple fiend with another.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually told yesterday I wasn't allowed in their group chat because I have an Android.
Understand
okay.
if you understood green text and iMessages, you would understand why it's a horrible thing.
It isn't just green text because the same problem happens on Androids. So if you have a group chat of just Androids, you can add and remove people. You can leave conversations as long as they're all Android. You add the one Apple person in it, and that group chat is locked. You have to create a brand new one if you want to bring anybody in or remove anyone. You can't. That group chat is done. You can't get rid of it.
They did add read receipts to Android.
Correct. That's the RCS portion of things with Android. So you can do the reaction to things. You have the high definition transfers, et cetera, et cetera. All Apple has to do, like, you can send a blue text from an Android now. But what you have to do is you have to download an app and be willing to give your iCloud info to a third party, which, as history suggested, was never the best idea.
That's suspicious.
That's us. All Apple has to do, and Apple's notoriously known for not playing well with others, all they have to do is add iCloud on the back end of an Android, and bye-bye green texters.
Honestly,
That's it.
all Apple really has to do is just go to any Android or Samsung like promo thing and just bring their shit out 3 years earlier than what they're doing now.
But it's not Apple.
Whatever. You can pay for your partial logo also. I honestly, I don't know how they I understand that it's a brand and they've done a lot of brand loyalty. The same people that love Apple are the same ones that love Disneyland, and they're the 40 and 50-year-old people hanging out with 12-year-old kids, and it's a little weird.
Okay, first
you guys
of all,
are a little weird.
Never been to Disneyland or Disney World, and I don't ever want to go. So wrong
Disney World, I would say, is worth the trip. What state are you from?
I'm in Florida, which is where it's at. It's in Orlando.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but I just don't.
Excuse.
The price is going up 300% in the last few years. It's
ridiculous.
I don't want to go. I don't want to spend. I'll go to Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens is in Tampa. I mean, that's closer than Orlando. Well, yeah, it's closer.
Okay. I would say in terms of an experience, because I've been to both, Disney World, if you already live in Florida, are you all on the opposite side of the state, or is Disney World your neighbor?
We're 2 hours from Orlando.
Okay, then it's not worth it. If it was somewhere to stay for the weekend or whatever, Disney World is worth it. The resort, I was 7 at the time, so who knows how much they've improved or how much they've declined. I don't know, but I remember as a kid the Disney World resort being really nice. Disneyland, on the other hand, no, that is the land of bacterium and viruses.
Have you heard how to know the difference between land and world?
No.
So Disneyland has LA in it, right?
Yeah.
Los Angeles, California. Disney World has ORL for Orlando in it.
Huh.
Right? The more you
there
know.
You know.
Yeah. Jinx.
Nice.
You owe me a Zeus. What?
None of
that. The good news, pulling away from Disneyland and stuff like that.
Wait, are we even allowed to talk about Disney on the podcast, or are they going to come after us with the lawsuit?
I don't know.
Where does their copyrights stop?
Yorks.
You said Disneyland. We're suing.
Yeah. I said the funky D in verbally, so just so you know,
Yorks. I'm subpoenaed.
You said D with a squiggle.
That's it.
Have you played Ready or Not, Darren? I don't think Zeus has. No.
So Zeus will probably elaborate for 15 minutes on this, but when it comes to TV shows, movies, or games, if the question is, have you played / seen this, the answer is most likely no.
So if it is not Mortal Kombat,
Shut
WWE,
Shut
Zelda,
up.
or COD.
You're not wrong, but shut up.
So he's like a CC. He's like a 3 or 4
put it
game.
this way, okay?
That's it?
Put it this way. I wanted to get Darren into Game of Thrones for years.
Oh, I still haven't watched it.
Okay, I mean, I'm talking since we started talking again. It's been 6 or 7 years now that I've been trying to get him into this. He starts dating a chick for 3 weeks, and he's like, "Dude, Game of Thrones is so good."
Yeah, but she gives him something you can't. So
I
understand his position. I understand his position.
He never asked.
Okay,
it would be but he never asked.
Well, I'm just saying.
Also facts, but
yeah, she's there. But so Ready or Not is going to be coming to console this summer, 2025. The good news is it will come with a free DLC for everybody who wants it, of course. If you pre-order right now, you can get free weapons. And if you're on PC when it comes out, I believe, you will get those weapons as well. automatically on PC. You want to buy them. So
That's pretty cool.
that's a plus.
So go ahead.
They're also adding difficulties, which is if you've played Ready or Not, which you guys haven't. Jared, obviously, Zeus, you've talked with Jared before. He's been playing that game a lot. Usually, whenever a new update comes out, he plays it, and there's never been a difficulty. It's always like you pick a mission, and then you do what type of mission, or you pick a map, and then you choose what mission to do on the map, and then once you do that, you just automatically log in, and then you're just going, and that's it.
Okay.
And sometimes, depending on what the mission is, the AI can be insanely accurate, like pre-firing before you even turn the corner type of thing, or they're just kind of like ditzy and dumb, and you're just like, I can shoot anything that moves anyways. So it's just, it'll be nice to have the difficulty slots.
So I can't remember if I brought it up last week or not, because last week we didn't really talk about a whole lot. We just kind of, talked with Missa.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've brought it up yet, but Tarkov is actually coming to the Steam store.
I don't remember if he's talked about that or not.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
I don't think
there
he talked
was
about
this
Tarkov coming to the Steam
gigantic thing, the huge like Q&A type thing. Nikita came on to like YouTube, answered questions, gave his speech that he does every quarter or whatever. The final map is going to be released soon, and Tarkov 1.0. So Tarkov is actually full launching.
Nice.
Summer of this year.
Any announcement on console?
Yes, actually. They said that Tarkov will come to console, but they're going to launch on Game Boy first.
What the?
Darren might have a fifth game.
Oh my god!
What?
So Darren, what that means is it's never coming to console.
Yeah.
You got me so excited for
I
that green and
know.
black screen. You son of a bitch.
But no, that was a actual quote, because someone asked in the chat, "Will it ever come to console?"
If it comes to Steam and Xbox has Steam on their next Xbox, they could.
Maybe some form.
They have already said that they will not give controller support, that it would take away from it. So even if you have controller support, there will never be aim assist. They want people to be as equal of a playing field as possible.
I'm okay with that. Not just because I'm biased to the keyboard and mouse, which hilariously, I'm the Enigma guy. I have a PC. I have a 4-screen PC over here.
Jeez, oh Pete. You and Cece, I swear.
I
don't
have
okay.
4
Shut
screens.
Up.
Shut up.
Let me come back to that, because I missed my 3 screens, but I have a 4-screen over here, 2 screens over here for work.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. So I have a PC which I run streams off of, streaming off of, but I also have like games on the PC as well. For COD specifically and Nintendo Switch, I have 2 capture cards running through the computer, and I'm a keyboard mouse player on a PlayStation. I'm the ultimate Enigma. But
yeah,
I'm okay with this with Tarkov, because over the last maybe 3 years, the favoritism of aim assist and controllers has increased dramatically against the keyboard and mouse advantage.
Oh, 100%.
That's what. Yeah.
Apex did. I know I've brought this up before. Darren didn't hear it.
Yeah.
There was someone that actually did a sample size of 1,000 players, and of those, I'm sorry, 10,000 players. Of the top 1,000 of those players, as far as accuracy, pure accuracy, 4 were keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
The top percent, I think it was 10% of keyboard and mouse for accuracy was what the average controller player was.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think a lot of people really realize how much the snap helps, and B, it pulls away a lot of that recoil.
It does.
So, and having to it's nice to be able to spin fast, but then you have to be dead point accurate when you're moving your sights, and then you have to adjust recoil as to where when you're a little bit off of someone, and then you can just aim in and automatically snap on them. So gives a lot. And I used to be console, so I'm able to speak a little bit on both sides. And people usually, obviously, when you're on console, you don't want to hear it, because you're like, oh, somebody's a PC. They're just they have so much. And there's a difference between people who use mods and stuff like that, who can turn a semi-automatic weapon into a fully automatic. That's completely different compared to the people who are playing the game as it's intended, and then trying to, go against people, especially in close quarters. That's the worst.
It brings
You're
me
trying
back
to swing and
brings me back to the days of the old Modern Warfare 2, where I would take the 50 cal but set my fire to the mouse wheel.
Yeah, it's that whole that quick scoping. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you honestly, I mean, technically, yes, you can quick scope on mouse and keyboard.
Mhm.
It is not nearly what it is on
Correct.
controller. On controller, if you're even like aiming at a shoulder or anywhere near that hitbox, it pulls you center mass.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now it is much harder to hit headshots in a quick scope, but all of the COD, bolties for
Single
multi,
shots, anyways. Yeah.
it's waist and up is a one shot, and it always has been. That's just what they've always
Mhm.
done. I don't know. It's one of those things that I am happy that it's gonna stay that way. One thing is that Tarkov Arena is now actually available on the Epic Store. And so if you guys wanted to give just that a try in itself, which Tarkov Arena is basically the multiplayer version of Tarkov. You can play team deathmatch, you can play domination, you can play things that are kind of like search and destroy. It's not really search and destroy, but what happens is that it is 5v5 elimination.
Mhm.
And then if you wait too long, they will start throwing bosses into the arena to kill you also, and they will like try
Nice.
to hunt you down. And then there's this little area you can go to that if you stand on it for long enough, it's kind of like the flag in the gulag. After like a 5 or 7 minute timer, the flare goes out, and if you stand there and don't get killed for like 15 seconds, your team wins.
Oh,
Which
that's a win.
keeps people from being able to like just sit in corners the whole time.
That'd be nice.
Right.
But it's fun, but again, it's never going to be on console. I say never, but there's been a lot of games that have said never.
Never.
For things.
Say
Again,
never.
it comes back to that original conversation where there's a finite point of putting out a game to cater to the community, and you want to make it good, and you want to make it fun, but at the same time there's that monetization portion where at the end of the day you got to make a buck. So
Tarkov has never been one to fully cater to the community. Nikita is, which is like the lead developer and everything. He is like hated by most of the Tarkov community.
if
and
that's
he laughs
the
at you for it.
if that's the case, I'll see you on PS5.
You know what is coming to console though?
Huh.
And it's actually coming sooner. So initially it was told that it wouldn't release until end of September. I know it's not that big of a difference, but it's still a little bit early or bigger because you don't know of games that ever release before the release date. They always go to the release date or after.
Mhm.
But Borderlands 4 is going to be coming out on September 12th now.
Trash.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to yell at me. I was just
Trash.
throwing it out there for the people who
So
like Borderlands
aggressive.
and wanted to try it. You know what I mean?
Trash. I mean, I can keep saying it, but like Borderlands has not had a W
Since
like
two.
they had no they had the Tiny Tina.
Oh yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That was good.
That was good, but the thing is that they took a Borderland 2 DLC and made a whole game out of it. But them trying to make Tiny Tina, this 19, 20, 21, whatever she is now, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to be in this one or not. I know there's going to be like they're going to have like personal vehicles that you can spawn pretty much at any time. They're going to have like 2 new weapon types and I think like a couple new classes and stuff, which all looks pretty cool. So I'm curious because I like Borderlands 3 and maybe it's probably because I played with all my friends, but I'm curious as to how it's going to turn out. And I haven't played a Borderlands in a while.
I was looking at like the character list on it, and I did not see a siren. So this will be the first Borderlands that doesn't have a siren.
I think it does have a siren. It's just a different type of siren because they were talking about it, the new types of characters and stuff like that. And then they were saying like this is a siren type or whatever, and this is a siren type. So I think it's not listed necessarily as just siren. It's just like it's listed as something else, but it is a siren.
Okay, because there was in lore, there's only supposed to be 6 that exist at all in like the universe at any given time. And if you go through with between Borderlands 3 and then Borderlands 1, however you want to look at it, you have 3 sirens on one planet within like 5 years of one another when there's only supposed to be so many within.
Yeah, but it was a very important mission. That's why you were playing it. Okay, so I mean,
did you ever
come
play
on.
the pre-sequel?
No.
So I love the storyline to the pre-sequel, but the actual gameplay itself was, again, it was trash.
Yeah,
I think that was done by 2K Australia, and they just tried way too hard to like make it funny, and I don't know, it wasn't there. The fact that you could play as Claptrap was hilarious.
That is fun. That's funny, honestly.
But his ultimate ability was called something like claptrap.exe, and it basically read whatever your situation was, your health, weapons, whatever, and then gave you a very random ability. And it was one of like 6 things that could happen. And so you could kind of lean towards one thing or another by kind of setting up, the requirements for it. But in the end, it was just random. And so, yeah, I'm not going to give too many spoilers on that whole thing, but just know that, yeah, you're not the good guys. You're yeah. I mean, granted, the games have been out for freaking years at this point, but Handsome Jack was the good guy.
Someone tried getting me to play Borderlands years ago, and I'm like, no thanks.
It was probably Zeus.
No, it wasn't Zeus.
Borderlands 2 came out. No.
Ironically enough, no, that was not one of those games.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it's not for everybody.
Right.
Did you guys play Last of Us at all?
I did.
Okay. Darren didn't. Okay.
No, well, yes and no.
So
a mutual friend that I introduced to Zeus, my buddy Andrew, probably one of the most fantastic artists out there.
He did the thing behind me, right there.
He did your logo.
Thing. Yeah, that.
Great story behind him, and I will always brag about this story with him. So I don't know how it came to be, but he was either approached or commissioned, or he just did it. He did a portrait for Stan Lee.
Oh, that's legit.
Yeah, he loved it so much that he met Stan Lee and took a photo with him, and Stan Lee made it his profile picture for Facebook and Twitter before he died, and it's still there.
Oh, that's legit.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, Andrew, he got me to play. He's like, hey, dude, I really want you to try this game. I think you'd like it, whatever. And I'm like, sure, dude. Played it for 5 minutes, and I was just bored as shit. I do respect it though, because it rivaled Breath of the Wild in terms of game of the year. Like I think back to back, something like that. So
Darren doesn't like storyline unless it has a 11-year-old boy in it.
Oh my God.
Tell me I'm wrong.
All right. First of all, no.
How old is Link?
Link, he's like 18 in most iterations.
He played Call of Duty. He liked the Call of Duty, and he was talking about that, and that's all soldiers, so it's got to be over 18.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I mean, Ocarina of Time, that's kind of an exception because the storyline starts when I think he's like 7 or 8. So,
well, if you liked The Last of Us, the first one, there's been a fan-made mod. It's only for PC though, but what it does is it turns the original Last of Us into an extraction mode type game. Oh, so you get to play as a Fedra soldier and complete missions, and then you get like ration cards. And then you get to use those ration cards to either buy goods or upgrade your gear or weapons or whatever have you. But you can do a whole extraction mode, but you have to complete the mission or whatever and then come back out and then, again, return your mission items for cards or whatever to upgrade.
Yeah. I know my roommate's watching the show. He loves it.
Did you play The Last of Us, Kai?
No.
No? All right. So there was another mod that came out right when the game first released. Right when it, and it was... So you followed Joel, right? You guys have seen the show. So you followed Joel. You haven't seen the show either?
No.
All right.
I know some names, but
we're gonna have to have a conversation after.
Sorry, I mean, once there was things that were talked about, and I was just like, I'm not. Yeah.
But anyway, so you followed Joel, who's this dude who loses his daughter, and then kind of picks up Ellie and kind of like becomes her pretty much foster dad. She is immune to this virus, and they want to test her to make a cure, and that's all I'm going to go into that. But the person that gets him to do this whole thing is like Joel's semi-life partner, not really, named Tess. And so one of the very first mods that came out was where instead of playing as Joel, you play as Tess. So Tess basically sacrifices herself so that you can get away from Fedra and get her out of there. The mod switches that role around to where you play as, again, Tess through the whole thing instead of Joel. And a lot of people feel like that should have been the way the game was actually done because, it's this dude, whatever, And he's like, okay, fine, I'm going to do this, but just because this chick that, you know, I was close to wanted me to do this. And of course they have this bond or whatever later on, but it was a really, really good mod for it. And I was hoping that they would come out with more, not just, you know, everyone has gigantic double Q boobs or whatever with jiggle effects, because that's the first mod that comes out in any game on PC. Speaking of incredibly large things, what is this big screen VR headset?
No. It's called, the company that created it is BigscreenVR. So that's their headset. But it's actually, as crazy as this is the newest VR headset that is the lightest and smallest headset on the market.
I don't like it.
So you can just walk around with it, something covering your eyes instead of this like giant helmet where you have to wear like 7 straps to keep it. Yeah, I like weight on my face as well.
I never got into the whole. Nice touch.
Thanks.
Mutual admiration there. So I never got into the whole VR thing because for the same reason as like 3D movies, it's such a it just kind of ruins it for me when if I see something coming at me and then it just like gets cut off over here.
Yeah.
It like if I'm gonna have something that immersive, then I want it to be full 360 spectrum, you know, full peripheral, everything, whole kit and caboodle. But
Well, I think a lot of the headsets nowadays do go to your peripheral.
they do, but again, this is where like I might sound bougie, but it's not enough.
Air Force. It makes sense. The Air Force is making sense now.
All right, first of all,
So the last VR type thing that I played
doesn't have an oven in it.
when it comes to the dining facilities, 100% Chair Force, except that basic.
We stopped there. I stopped there at Kazakhstan or whatever, and they had like a Pizza Hut, a Burger King, a massage parlor. I'm like,
yeah.
Am I about to switch right now?
Yeah, and what's funny is at base we always had like prior service guys that would like, you know, from the Marines or the Army or whatever, and they transitioned to, you know, the Air National Guard or whatever, and they're always like, dude, this is night and day. It's like Wizard of Oz going from black and white to color.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I know it's a lot nicer, but you know, you have to get the title first. You know, you get that Marine Corps title, and then you can kind of go over and be like, I'll ease my way out of this 20-year now. You know what I mean? I didn't do that route. I should have, but
I'm proud of my service. I'm proud of my branch, but excuse the language, but I will shit on them anytime they do something stupid. And they do a lot of stupid shit.
Whoa, watch your language. This is no.
Oh, this is a kid-friendly program. Sorry, my bad.
We actually had a comment at one point that called us out saying that the show was great, but we cussed too much.
Yeah.
So
they said they weren't offended. They said they didn't take any offense to any of it. They just asked like, "Hey, would you guys mind not cussing every third word?" And we're like, "You know what? you got a point. You know what? We'll calm it down." Well done.
And here's the thing: it wasn't Kai and myself. It was Cece, because Cece right. it was every third or fourth word.
Which is me to an extent, all of us to an extent. There is a place for I guess professionalism probably wouldn't be the right word, but decorum.
Yeah. So, well, when I'm at work and I'm speaking with a customer or something like that, obviously I'm not going to start swearing.
Right.
You know, I'm going to try and compose myself and stuff like that. That's actually why CC's not here today. I know we didn't mention that in the beginning. He actually has a lawsuit going on right now for things that were said. Just kidding. His internet's out. But
yeah, his internet's
out.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know that AI is going to pick up just that part of it for
and then just be like, this is what
the entire
CC's getting sued. Like, well, I hope Missa fixes that one. Like, just cuts it out on purpose. Like CC's getting sued and just stops it right there.
Speaking of lawsuits, how is the gaming industry not opening up just all of the lawsuits on all of these layoffs? I guess EA just cut 300 people and are getting rid of their I guess it was supposed to be a extraction shooter set in the Titanfall world, and they've completely scrapped the game completely.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
So I don't know enough context about that. Well, at least about that situation specifically. I'm going to put my business hat on and just kind of be like the outsider looking in on that. Same guy, Andrew. If you ever want to check out his stuff, by the way, it's Weapon of Mass Creation. Awesome work you'll ever see.
What are you plugging your people for?
Sorry for the shout out. But
no, we'll make sure to add his Instagram at least in the in the description for this. He is an awesome
dude.
You're welcome. At some point, I do want to get him on here, but
yeah, great dude.
Guys, he is just so busy.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's insanely busy, like more so than me. But anyway, I don't know enough about that situation, but I do know a little bit of it from him because he worked for Naughty Dog. After he got me to play the game, it was like a couple years after he wound up working for Naughty Dog. So I do know a little bit from him, and his industry is somewhat the same. It's such a cutthroat industry within, and I'm just going to talk about the gaming community in particular. Did a study on it in college, actually, on the rivalry between Nintendo and Sega. And we didn't know we were like pretending to be Nintendo or Sega at the time. But it's such a cutthroat industry that the upper echelons of those manufacturers pretty much have it in stone to have it their way in terms of their designing staff and their coding staff and whatever, where if they're trying to make way for something else, they'll just lay off what they can to reserve all that money to do what they want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, in terms of, business law per se, in most instances, you can hire or fire for whatever reason you want or no reason at all. But if you do give a reason, it has to be for the right one.
At-will workers is in a lot of states now.
And unfortunately, I'm in favor of that model as opposed to right to work. Because I understand where right to work has a place.
I would have agreed with your whole thing of the gaming industry if we had done this conversation a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But with the failures of things like Veilguard, with Concord, with, as we talked about in the beginning, was it 343?
Star Wars Outlands.
Star Wars Outlands. Yeah. All of these games that are, and I hate bringing politics into it, but they are going woke and they're hitting the wrong target audience.
Yep.
That's what I'm wondering is this another case of that? Because they're not really giving a whole lot of details right now. Mm-hmm. And it's actually hitting other industries as well. I guess Polygon, which is a gaming news outlet.
I've heard of them.
They also laid off like 25 people just a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
So
I think the question goes more into, you don't know what's being developed. You have no idea, obviously, but are they looking at, what past records are, what spending is, what the bottom line is? Like, is their profit margins or their income actually covering the cost of their output? And you don't know. And that's a lot of the problem is you're looking at a game that hasn't been developed or it's been working on for however many years. How much of the company's bottom line is being eaten up from this game that either A, hasn't been fully developed, hasn't been pushed a few times. We have no idea. They may not have been given a date or anything like that so many times. So there's so much that can go in, especially to a game that you don't know why it's shut down. You have no idea. Or they just decided that the game itself was not what was going on in the gaming world now. And
interestingly enough, I'll actually tie both of your points together so beautifully because in my regular day job, that's what I do. But I'm in the advertising space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
I manage profit margin metrics, across 3 teams.
Yes.
So I deal with all that. In terms of the gaming community, tying both of your points together, yes, at some point, like I was saying, that happy compromise, at some point, it is going to be about making a buck because you people working for you for the sake of pride or morality or the ideology behind it only goes so far because they have lives too. At the same time, in certain instances, like quote unquote going woke, the woke portion of the country did itself no favors. And in terms of the gaming community, when people started turning off to that idea, yet companies still forcefully pushed it, people started naturally just backing off. Not like a boycott necessarily, but people just started naturally backing off of it. And when you have enough people backing off of something for the sake of what it is you believe in or for whatever reason that is going to impact your bottom line. And
that's like what we talked about in the beginning with monetization, with people, you bring something to the forefront, and if people don't like it, the consumer doesn't like it, they move their money to another side. And it's not to say that people don't like certain things, right? Like there's certain things that I might like, but if it were to be pushed into a video game, people are going to be turned away because a lot of times people don't go to a video game to, increase their knowledge on politics, to increase their knowledge on some sort of religion, anything like that. What they're doing is they're going to have an escape, to just have fun, enjoy with their friends and stuff like that. So when you have like these ideas that are kind of really pushed to the forefront on anything with a video game, it really kind of, like if Halo were literally just about the guns, and people are like, I don't want to play just for the guns. I want to have this mission where this guy is going out and being heroic and saving humanity. But the game turned around and it was just like, you have to obtain this gun and level it up in order to use it to do this one thing.
Right.
People aren't going to want to play it as much. So the more you push a certain thing.
Right. And Zeus is probably going to ire at this, but I'll bring up the conversation because it's related to it. The whole
I'm getting ready. I'm stretching.
I know.
I'm ready to just jump.
Dude, you've been warmed up for decades. All right. So, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully here. But the whole Tim the Tatman and Nick Merck scenario with their avatars getting, pulled from the store, whatever, because of what Nick Merck said, which I support Nick Merck's in, his point and all that. And then I support Tim the Tatman for standing by his boy. Fast forward, I want to say like 3-6 months of their boycott, and we boycotted the game as well because that was total crap what they did. It must have been like 3 or 6 months later that Activision, I believe, sold to Microsoft.
Right.
Yep.
And me and Joe, my roommate, we had a conversation about that. It's like, well, look, at the end of the day, number one, it's a game. Number two, we can't sit here and boycott a game for it going woke when they're absorbed by a company that's probably more woke than them. And we're still using Microsoft Windows.
So
Apple,
my thing with
Apple
that
has the same argument goes to Apple because Apple's woke as shit. And everybody uses an iPhone. So it's like, at what point do you become a hypocrite?
Because it's all dependent on what you're using and what it, like I was talking about earlier. Like if I'm playing a game, there's certain aspects I want. If I'm using a phone, there's certain aspects that I use. I use my iPhone because of the ease of the OS on it. Right. I play a game because I like the functionality of the game, and maybe even because of my friends. So it has nothing to do necessarily with the company itself. Though I'm sure there's sometimes you're going to look into a company and certain things they're doing, and you're like, okay, I might want to stay away from this side of the company. Sure. But overall, like if there's always going to be both sides in any company. One company is going to be more this way. One company is going to be more this way. It doesn't matter. It's just about the product I'm using, the service I'm using. Now, if they come out and say something completely outlandish or something like that goes against my beliefs, sure, I might back away from them. Now, does that mean that everybody has to? No, not saying that by any means. Right. But as long as the product I'm using and they're not going and becoming, an extremist of any kind and trying to really force things down my throat or anything. I mean,
and at the same time, too, it doesn't matter if it's an individual saying something or if it's a company doing something that, that bothers me per se. To the point, like you said, where I'm just going to back off of, purchasing their goods or services. If either one of those came around and publicly just said, hey, we screwed up, we were wrong, I'm for that. At least
here's the thing.
At least go that far to admit, to hold yourself accountable.
I didn't care about all of the other stuff. Yes, it sucked. They have the right to pull Nick Merckx and Tim or whatever. That's not the part that I was pissed about. The part that I was pissed about is, and I'm going to say it again, Nick Merckx is a bitch because he sat there after people like you and all these other people supported him and all this other stuff, went back to bootlicking Activision again, playing their games, and again, being a bit. That was the only issue I had. I love the fact that Tim was there and was backing his boy. I know that Tim does amazing things, and I love, again, I've brought it up before, when he got on Ninja about Overwatch and how he had no idea what he was doing. All for it. My big thing was Nick Merckx is a bitch. With that being said, guys, if you ever want to see Darren live, he does stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 6:30 p.m. Pacific until about 9 or whenever his roommate decides they need to go out and get wings or his girlfriend comes over or whatever it is. You can catch him on twitch.tv/DarrenLeeHorn or YouTube DarrenLeeHorn.
Well, and also on X now. X /DarrenLeeHorn. I think that's what
Send us all your links and we'll put them in the description. For sure, so.
While I appreciate the shout out there, Zeus, if you're going to make fun of me, at least get it right. Wings and dinner comes before streaming. Thank you.
So we might be a little late. Okay.
But I think you got the schedule right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, 6:30 to about 8 or 9.
Yeah, see, I pay attention. I'm trying here. Hey, Darren, what's my schedule?
You don't have one.
See, you don't know anything about me.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it. But Darren, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on, hanging out with us today. Was there anything else that you wanted to add before Kai takes it away?
Me?
Yes. No, the other Darren in the room.
The
Darren
one that... Hornley.
Yes.
I no longer like this game.
That's fine. You only play 3 of them anyway.
4.
Go for it, Kai.
Yeah, no. Again, Darren, highly appreciate you coming on. I think we had some great chats. Very good on a lot of the stuff that we talked about. But for anybody else that was watching the podcast, if you want to let us know in the comments if there was anything you agree or disagree on, there was a lot we kind of went over today, obviously, or there's something you want us to discuss on the next episode, just leave it in the comments down below. Feel free to hit that like, subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we drop a new video. You can also check us out on all of our other platforms. We got YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Rumble. And then, of course, check out our socials. We got Patreon, Facebook, X, TikTok, and Instagram. So appreciate everyone for watching. And again, thanks a lot, Darren. Thanks for coming out, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me, too. I had a great time.
Yeah, perfect.